So once again, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Everyone's very welcome to this MPW live session. So my name is Steve Phillips. I'm Director International at MPW. And today's session is MPW Uncovered, everything you need to know about life at MPW. Almost want to add, but we're afraid to ask. So something like that. And it'll be a very interesting session today, I'm sure. Please do put yourselves on mute if you're just joining us. That's for the benefit of the speakers, obviously, and for sound quality. And feel free to use the chat function in the Teams app or the browser, depending on which one you're using, for any questions that you have that we might get to towards the end. So very pleased to have MPW Cambridge. I am now going to hand over to Tom Caston, the principal at MPW Cambridge. Tom, great to see you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. And lovely to be here again this week. Those of you that heard me speak last week will know that I like to talk. And I've promised that today is not going to be about me. It's going to be about the people who know MPW far better and will give you much more real information and insight into what it's like to be an MPW student. And that's the boys and girls, but also the brilliant Jamil, who is one of my senior teachers at the college, and absolutely everything I want from our teachers here in terms of his passion, his subject knowledge, and just his pupil-centred approach. So hopefully you'll get a sense of not just the boys and girls and their experiences here in Cambridge, but also the kind of people that we are and the kind of people who will be navigating our amazing students through their education, through this stage in their education, and helping them get on to the next stage, which is a privilege, and we all feel that. You know, I feel very lucky to be seeing these young people and to be guiding them forward, and you'll meet some of our amazing students, and they're all going to go on and do wonderful things. I have no doubt. So there's some facts for you on the screen. Hopefully you can see those. So I'm not going to read through them. What I will say is that I spent the last 21 years working in large, quite mainstream schools with big class sizes and big classrooms, and when walking around those schools, you always get a sense of there's the teacher at the front of the class and there are the students sitting in lines and rows in front of them, and it's the teacher saying, "Come on, kids," and trying to energize the class of 15 or 25 or sometimes 30. Or sometimes you sense the lethargy from the teachers, hopefully not too often, and the staff are the students are the ones with the energy. When I came to MPW for the first time, I really struggled to work out who are the staff and who are the students. And I mean in absolutely the best way. Obviously, some of us are showing our age, and it's a bit clearer who the staff and who the students are. But in terms of the real atmosphere and the collaborative ambition and the heads down desire to learn and to make progress and to improve and to just to learn, and I think it's quite unique. As I say, it's not about the teachers saying, "Come on, boys and girls, come with me." It's about this collective aim to achieve wonderful things intellectually and academically. And my job is to, along with Jamil as well, actually, is to create around that academic ambition, to create a community in a sense of real care and stimulation, mind, body and soul beyond the classroom as well, and make people feel that make the boys and girls feel that they're part of a community and part of a stronger whole. And you'll see in front of you here now, hopefully, you know, we've got a really beautiful mix of international and domestic students. So 70% UK, 30% international. And for me, that's exactly what I want to achieve. If you walk out into Cambridge, into Birmingham, into London, the world is that way. And I've always wanted to be principal of a college that has that mix. And I learned so much from every international boy and girl, and the UK students learned so much from the international boys and girls. And I think that it makes us more interesting people to have our international mix, and it makes me a better educator. And it's just far more interesting. All my friends from university and from school live in London or the home counties, which is near to London. It's boring. So when I go and see them, I don't go to very interesting places. When the students here grow up and they want to go and see their pals in the holidays, they're going to be able to go all around the world. And I think that is just an absolute gift. And our international mix is an absolute gift. And as I say, you'll meet these three guys today who will hopefully convey that to you as well. So I'm not actually going to say any more because I don't want to talk about the personal tutor system or the supervised accommodation or the grades and anything like that, because I think I don't want to steal any thunder. So I will introduce you to Jamil now. And Jamil is, as I say, senior teacher, passionate historian, politics, just an educator, a passionate educator. So, and Jamil also runs the student council. And this year, the student council have had a tough time because my plans this year, this is my first year here as principal, was to buy a big barbecue and every Friday to have a barbecue cooked for by the student council and invite all the boys and girls, all the staff, and just create a real sense of community. And unfortunately, we've had that robbed from us. But the student council have been phenomenal in so many other ways, and they've been vibrant and passionate and committed to creating the community that we're looking for. So Jamil, over to you. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop talking. So introduce yourself, introduce what you feel the student council is, and take it away. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Am I still sharing? I don't know how to stop.
Yes, I think you are, Tom. So you stop share.
Okay. Well, just leave it with me. You keep talking and I'll just work away on this.
Thank you all. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Hopefully, I've got 3 members of our student council on here today. There were supposed to be 4, but I'm afraid one of them's poorly, so she sends her regards. So the thing, obviously, for today, this event has actually said things in there to say things like inspiration and advice for students and parents. And firstly, I'd just like to introduce Ulan Stamkul, our chair of the student council. Hi, Ulan. Okay, and he's a second-year student. I mean, they will answer a question, but Ulan, just to start with, what's your inspiration?
Inspiration?
Yes.
So, well, I've got a lot of inspiration, like in MPW. So, thank you for inviting me to this event. My name is Ulan. I am the head of the student council. Last year, a level student.
What inspires you?
And sorry, I have a bad connection.
Oh, okay. Just said, what inspires you, Ulan? Why is MPW?
Why MPW? Well, there are a lot of things what inspires me in MPW. I think it's the educational process that MPW has, personal tutors, and also the students that study here. Okay,
and what about the mixture of the students, as Tom was just alluding to, the sort of the UK students and the international students? Is that a good thing? Is it a vibrant community?
Well, yeah, I totally agree with the Tom that it's good to have a vibrant community in MPW where I can meet the UK students to learn their culture, and also not only international students but the students from around the world, from Asia, from Africa, from South America, and it's always interesting to learn their languages, to learn their cultures, and just to know them as friends.
Okay, and I think thank you for letting us know about Novruz. I think is that the word for it? Happy Central Asian Day earlier in the week.
So Novruz
Tell us a bit
is
more about that.
is a Central Asian New Year, which is celebrated by the 30 million people. Also celebrated in Iran and in other Asian countries. So it's a family event. It's a family event where people just sharing their lives, what happened, and just having good time with the families.
Okay, and I think it ties in with, is it spring equinox and all that, sort of the turning of the year, etc. Yes, and hopefully we'll be away from this COVID stuff eventually, and then there'll be a new spring, so to speak. Thank you, Ulan, for the time being. Okay, Caitlin, are you there? One of our UK students who's also on the student council, and I think she's on our creative and social committee team. Caitlin, are you there?
Yeah.
Camera on. Can't see you at the moment. Or okay, Caitlin.
Oh, there we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Much better. Okay, Caitlin, what inspires you? I think you're a first-year student here, aren't you?
Yes. So
MPW. How's yours experience been compared to other schools previously you've been to before coming to us?
So previously, all the schools that I've been to have been very large, so very large class sizes, and also not very diverse.
Okay,
that's
interesting.
British.
Okay.
So that was one of the striking differences that really did draw me to MPW. The fact that the class sizes are a lot more smaller, so the education, you feel it's a lot more personal and tailored to you.
Yeah, good.
And definitely the diversity here is really great, and you get to know so many people from all over the world. And again, traditions that you didn't know about, and also teaching other cultures of traditions that we have here. And that's quite special about this place.
Okay, good. And I think one of our points, I think Tom did sort of mention, was the smaller class sizes. I mean, how has that really helped compared to the large class sizes where you might have been missed? You said that it's tailored and it personalised, but what else does it help you to do, assessment-wise, or other things, reports, the other sort of feedback with the teachers and the subject tutors you got? How's that compare? Yeah.
Well, I definitely think that you get a lot more work done within the lesson, which helps. You're not waiting for 30 people to finish a task.
I see. Okay, good. So some things to stretch you. So if you finish, you move on.
Yeah.
Other things to do. Okay. So that's the good thing. You like that, stretching and challenging you.
Yeah, and there's definitely plenty of that here. You're never just sitting in the class doing nothing, twiddling your thumbs.
Okay.
Yeah, there's always kind of challenges.
And it's always onwards and upwards and forwards. Yes.
Yeah, and it's definitely very motivational, not in a pushy way.
Okay,
but,
good.
It's very supportive.
Okay. Thank you for the time being. Let's, Veronica, are you there? Hi, Veronica, can I see you? Again, Veronica's on our social committee and creative committee. Hi, Veronica. What's your inspiration? Let's start from that bit right at the beginning, which I asked Ulan as an international student, first year here. What's inspired you?
Why I chose to, first of all, like small classes is very important for me, since in my previous school I had about 30 to 40 people in one class. It's impossible to cooperate, teamwork. There is no teamwork. And in MPW, teachers have an individual approach towards every student, and we can cooperate with each other and different teachers. Also, in my first school, we had lot of different subjects that even were not like important for our future career and university. And in MPW, we can choose 3 or 4 subjects and things like
Struggling to hear you, Veronica. You're
So, yeah, I think there's some sort of feedback, Jason. I can't hear you properly. Don't know if it's.
I found I have my trouble.
Turn it off and turn it back on again and see
Yeah,
if it works.
thank
That's the
you,
IT
John.
general response, isn't it?
Yeah.
Turn your mic. Yeah. Jamil, I wonder if while Veronica's talking, turn yours off and that might help.
I've done that. Hopefully, everybody's muted. I hope. Continue, Veronica.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, that's great. So, and final, like I like that we have a lot of different kind of events related to university application, like being like university representatives who tell us about the education in their institutions, and it helps us to like know the choices that we want to have in our future for uni. And like it's really great that MPW helps us use application, personal statement, everything related to university, which is important right now on this stage. And that's like the benefit of the skill. Yeah.
Excellent that you're already preparing for things like that, even in your first year, rather than leaving it to the second year about your UCAS. One other sort of question I think I wanted to just ask you, because I think that's quite interesting what you said to me previously. What's it with English as an additional language, or English for academic purposes, or IELTS, the things you're actually doing, and how you still want to do that and see how you can get the highest grade possible rather than just skimming through and then dropping the subject? Explain a bit more about that, please, Veronica.
Well, like actual languages is my passion. I'm studying
Good.
French, Spanish, English. I like learning languages. It's not like an issue for me at all. And I've already passed IELTS that summer, and I didn't have a sufficient level of writing. That's why I had English classes, and I'm still having them. And even though I can pass IELTS right now and get like 7.5, which is great for university, I would like to have like higher band to be more competitive, like to make my application more competitive amongst students, like to reach 8 or 8.5, since like I think everyone who applies
You frozen.
university,
Okay.
like UCL, they
Yeah.
have great bands like 7.5, like everyone. So you
Yeah.
need to be outstanding and to show something better than they have already. So I know I want to improve my level of English as far as I can, and to pass IELTS perfectly, to have it like good for my application, university application.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Veronica, obviously you're pushing yourself quite a bit, and obviously we're here to help you with all that. But what about sometimes about relaxation? What do you do with that here in Cambridge, for instance? Is it all work and some play?
No, like when I was in Cambridge, although I'm not right now in Cambridge.
Obviously, yes, COVID aside, I know.
I used to do a lot of sport activities like jogging, since it helps just to, forget about a lot of thoughts that you have during studying, and to give place for some new fresh ideas that can come up just in 1 second. And it helps to like just relax and distract a little bit from educational process, and then come back with more strength and more energy. Good. And more like motivated. Also, I enjoy traveling. So when I had an opportunity, when there wasn't any lockdowns in the UK, with my friends, we visited London and some other cities. And first of all, for me, as for international students, a great opportunity to like know better the country, the culture, traditions, language, to meet new people. So traveling is a good way. And also, actually, when there was any lockdown, we visited cafes and restaurants and we studied there, since like the atmosphere where everyone is working, it's like motivates you to work more, see other people, other students. So, yeah, that's it.
Wow, thank you, Veronica, for the time being. Ulan, are you there? Next question, so to speak. Hi, Ulan.
Hi.
Because obviously we talked about COVID, and you was here in the first year before COVID, and obviously after COVID. How do you think that has that affected your studies, or what happened when we went online originally a whole year ago, for instance?
So I think that pandemic really affected the way how we study, the way how we learn and communicate with the students and the teachers. There are some drawbacks. There are some advantages of the pandemic. So I think that during the pandemic,
we cope with that over at MPW. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, when just pandemic began, I started to do yoga, and I found it really fascinating and relaxing, because I think that many of us are struggling with the loneliness and the stress and this uncertainty about the future. But this is something new that yoga was really a pleasure. And what else? Also, I started to read more books, literature books and history, politics books, because usually I spend my free time with the outside, with the friends. But just when the pandemic began, I started to read and to listen more.
Okay, right. And then what about the online lessons, and how's that helped with the weekly timed assignments? You've just had the internal tests, I think, a couple of weeks ago. How was all that experience from being in school and doing the weekly assessments or exams?
Okay, so I think that online learning didn't harm the quality of the education really much.
Absolutely.
Because I think that the app, the Microsoft app, is really well. It's really rarely has a disconnections and some like disconnection problems with the internet. I think I can communicate with the teacher.
Bisogna connesso al link.
Sorry, don't know who that was. Continue.
So yeah, I can communicate in the same way with the teachers and ask them the questions. So I think that the quality of my education wasn't really declined during the pandemic.
Yeah, and I think obviously we did, when we locked down, we went straight to Microsoft Teams, we did all that. So you can see from your perspective how it was before that and how it's been since then. Hopefully now we're coming out of this. Hopefully your next few internal tests or whatever you want to call them, the exams obviously not happening, but will be as equally as successful as your last one. And then what about your UCAS? Go on, speak.
Also, I want to mention that like last year, I was wondering how MPW administration managed to quickly change the way how they educate from offline learning to online learning.
Yeah.
And because I know a lot of students from other colleges and universities, which their departments struggled to change the way how to study and educate students.
Yeah. And just one more on the sort of student council then. Thank you for your answer there, Ulan. I mean, what did you actually now start to do when you became chair? Like, I think you had that meeting with former students, and that was done here as well. Explain that to everyone.
So yeah, in October, I applied for being a member of the student council in MPW Cambridge, and I got an honor to be the head of the student council. And I think it's my pleasure to communicate, to help students and to
Absolutely, yes.
organize different events, starting like from the Black History Month, Christmas, Halloween, and despite the pandemic, I think we managed to do something,
Yeah.
because when and everything is virtual and online. But I'm proud of my team. I'm right now I'm leading the academic lead, international leads, and GCC leads.
Okay. All right. And
Yes.
what was the thing with the former alumni, the students who left us last year, when you'd done that meeting with them online as well, and you chaired the meeting?
So yeah, like last year I've got a lot of friends, students who started before in MPW, and I'm still connected with them. So I decided to make a kind of Zoom meeting with
Yes,
them
that's it.
and to share their experience in MPW. They gave some tips, and also they explained how it's different between universities and MPW. So it was the first experience while I organized the Zoom meeting, but I think it was quite successful.
Yeah, and I think I was privileged to be at that meeting, and I think I can't remember, one of your former colleagues said what was the main thing that he took away from his studies here at MPW, and I think he said something to the effect of time management. That's an essential thing. How has that helped you, for instance, in your 2 years here? What Vladislav said.
Okay, so I want to say that MPW has like time assignment, which is
Yes.
like a weekly testing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like it's really stressful. And and at the beginning of the journey, when the students just come to the college, they experience some struggle to get great performance in the
Yeah.
TAs. So because of this educational pressure, and I think that time management and planning really helped me to be efficient, to get a great performance in TAs. So at the beginning, for example, I had usually like C's and D's for the TAs, but I managed to reflect, to understand what were the
Good.
mistakes, and I think right now I do TAs much better.
Yeah. Oh, hi Tom.
I just wanted to ask Caitlin what her
Okay,
experiences
good.
of the
Thank you.
TAs is as well. Ulan, brilliant. I mean, I think time management is it, and I'm sure Caitlin will reiterate that. Caitlin, what's your take on the TAs? Because they are scary, aren't they? And it is a real shift from the norm, Ulan, isn't it, to be tested every week on top of your 5 hours of A-level work per subject to have an hour-long exam test. But there are benefits too, aren't there? Caitlin, you tell us first.
Yes, go for it. Thank you, Tom. Caitlin, you there?
Oh, it's on.
Yes, you're on. I can hear you.
Oh yeah. So yeah, as much as it's kind of that pressure, I think it's definitely a positive thing.
Good.
Overall, I've seen such a tremendous difference in my ability to kind of answer questions with structures. As I said, I've never had
Experienced that before.
testing before, so this was something very new this year, and it did take me a bit of getting kind of used to, but it does kind of become part of your week, and it's not something like, oh, I have a test, or I have a test. It's more,
it becomes part of your routine, part of your structure, right?
Yeah.
Good. On top of your lessons as well, obviously.
Yeah, and I think it gives you very good incentive to revise and review your notes very early on.
Good.
Unlike other schools who wouldn't have these testings.
So say, for instance, from the, sorry to interrupt again, from the autumn term, how's that come along into the sort of spring? Now we're coming to the end of the spring term and then the summer term. Have you seen that progress?
Yeah, I think the main one definitely being, so I do English literature, and I think just my essay writing skills have improved
excellent.
Just vastly. And I think that's kind of benefits of the weekly testings, and that obviously other colleges might not have that, but you've kind of got that upper hand that you've been in these kind of exam kind of conditions in a way.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's a good incentive to revise.
Can I ask another question? Sorry, I don't want to. I had the most amazing PT meeting with Caitlin. Caitlin's drawn the short straw, and she's got the principal as her personal tutor. And we talked about the future. So Caitlin's year 12. Talk us through it. Tell us, Caitlin, what your plans are and what we discussed this week, because it's put me on a real high. And like I said earlier, it's a real privilege to be involved in this kind of thing. What are your plans for next year and beyond?
So I think I'm going to go into kind of law, maybe more the corporate side of it, or commercial.
Yeah.
However, I was very unsure coming to MPW what I'd want to do. I was even thinking kind of going into kind of the finance sector instead, but obviously now I've kind of cleared my head of what I truly do want to do and where my skills lie, and definitely with the teachers and having, again, the small class sizes, they get to know you and your strengths and your weaknesses. And again, through the testing, you also get to see these. And I think I definitely realised where my strengths do lie, and I've tailored that to, I guess, my future plans. And now I'm kind of on track with what I potentially want to do. It's now kind of given me that time to, again, with my weekly PT meetings, to focus on this and what I can do to put myself in the best position for applying to the kind of big colleges that would give me the kind of best opportunity to start in life.
And Caitlin, Tom, I could ask this question, especially I think with your English literature. I do know that you've been, getting, how shall I say this, from Christian, exceptional feedback on your assessment objectives, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, etc. How you can then take it forward. So even if you get a good grade, it's still about how can you still make that better rather than the actual grade itself.
I went to see Caitlin present. Sorry,
Yes.
I went to see Caitlin present her EPQ essay the other day. So the EPQ is the extended kind of research qualification. And I'm going to steal her thunder here because it was absolutely phenomenal. And it was about whether Thomas Hardy was a misogynist or an early feminist. And one of the most interesting things I've ever heard. And I learned about literature and different approaches to literature just listening to Caitlin. It was absolutely inspiring and wonderful. And as I say, Christian, who's our new head of English, just raves about her. But he's inspired you, hasn't he, Caitlin?
Oh, 100%. And I know that I wouldn't be here. And with obviously the grades that I've got without him and the other teachers, they're amazing. They're honestly so great at what they do, and really specialised. And the feedback that they give is just so valuable. And again, always kind of pushing you to improve that bit more.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're not plateauing. But yeah, really good.
Okay, so that was a good crossover between EPQ and English Lit there with Thomas Hardy. Thank you, Caitlin. Veronica, are you there? Oh, Tom, I'll be finishing incidentally. Was there any further questions?
No, I'm done. Let's go for Veronica now. We can hear her peacefully now, so that's good. Hi,
okay. Veronica, since you've been on, sorry to bring this back to the Student Council just for a little bit, on the Social Committee and the Creative Committee, what sort of ideas have you been looking at the moment, which are in fruition, shall we say, going forward? I want to explain that.
So with my friend Arena, who is also with me in Social Committee, we have plenty of ideas.
Okay.
For to organize events. The main one is to create a community in MPW where people can communicate, and it's important for those who have never been to the skill face-to-face lessons. Those who just started their studying this winter and due to lockdown they just have online lessons and they don't know any of their classmates. They can't like speak to them, like they can, but it's really hard when nothing is like encourages you. And so with this type of a community, we want to create like a chat on Teams.
Okay.
We will hope with Tom. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
On this chat, there will be like communication between students. They can share like useful resources for either school or university, or just related to time, or maybe to their own interest, like politics, psychology, and other stuff. And we had a plan to create like a certain structure. So for each day of the week, there will be a certain like topic to discuss, and there will be people who will be responsible for the organization of this chat, like from social committee as well, or from other committees and student council. We're not sure, we haven't discussed it on student council meeting. And
You're waiting for me.
Want to like
You're waiting
eventually,
Tom, you're waiting for me to reply to your email, and I will. We need to have a meeting in Arena, don't we?
Yes.
We can make this happen.
It's just to go forward, Tom. I mean, it'll probably be in the summer term or thereabouts afterwards, and hopefully we're away from lockdown, these sort of restrictions, and some more face-to-face students coming back.
Yeah, I'm holding up Veronica's genius here, Bob.
No, you're not.
But do you know why? It's because the email was so long and so full of ideas. It's taken me so much time to absorb them all and to actually put them in some kind of order. Honestly, these girls have they've just absolutely taken over.
Yes, that's good. And that's the good thing. I mean, that's the community that we want to do and establish. And there's a family, but yes, eventually we'll get there. Excellent. Yeah.
Like there are a lot of more ideas to like strengthen this community. We want to organize a lot where we will present like as gifts like different kind of subscriptions, since like the best type of gifts right now that doesn't require a delivery, is just online, and it's easy to organize also. And the main idea is to engage all three schools. Like
there you go. So you want to sort of take it to the whole MPW family, not just Cambridge.
Yeah, just to like increase the level of communication, to make new friends, to engage every student in the whole community of MPW, to participate, and to like become closer like a family more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay. For now, just good ideas. I'll just bring in Caitlin again. Caitlin, you still there? What was this thing that I think Tom started with, the creative committee, if you want to call it that, with our sort of like student drawings, if you want to call it that, we've done for Black History Month or whatever, what makes a good friend, that sort of thing that you got involved with, which is around the building. This is obviously before lockdown, and now obviously come back. Explain a bit of that to everyone, please, because I think that's quite niche, if that's the right word.
Yeah, so I'm not fully involved in this, but I know what they do, and I guess it's just bringing more vibrancy to the college in a way. Kind of creating posters, displays.
That's it.
Even at Christmas and Halloween decorations, I think the pumpkins and the cobwebs outside.
Yes, that was done as well. Yes, I do remember it.
It's like fire hazard. I had to take some of them down.
But yeah, so just kind of making the atmosphere more inviting.
Absolutely.
But also with things like Black History Month, and kind of other stuff I can't think of the top of my head, but also more serious stuff. And
it was International Women's Day, wasn't it, recently? So
yes. And I think Arena had done that poster, on that one. Yes, that was good.
Yeah, and that's kind of an offshoot of the student council that anyone can kind of get involved with.
Absolutely, yes. And that's the other thing to say. It's not just people on the student council, it's how you then go out to the rest of the family, shall we say, who are, you know, international students as well as UK students. Yeah. Okay.
I think the point is that we're stronger as a whole, aren't we, Caitlin?
Absolutely.
We're, you know, we can work in isolation, we can go to our lessons, we can do our homework and hand them in, and equally the teachers can teach and then leave. But if we're part of something bigger and a community, then it just, you know, I did an assembly on geese about how geese fly further in formation, and that's what I want for us. And I think, you know, the student council are absolutely the core of creating that, aren't they, Jamil? And it's been a real joy this year.
Absolutely. And in fact, I think Veronica and Irene are already working on at some point whether they can actually then take part in these assemblies as well with the students.
I would love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think people are going to get bored of hearing me every Monday, so I'm very keen for Veronica.
No problems. Okay. Let's see, Ulan, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ulan, your sort of, shall we say, thoughts about going forward, what will happen next year? You get your personal statement all done, you've got your results, you're going to your university of choice. How will you feel as an MPW alumni yourself, handing over to people like Veronica and Caitlin, who have still got another year to go? What sort of leadership skills have you sort of inculcated, should we say, to the team, student council team?
Well, I think
If any, of course.
I think, like, I will be precise that, like, all the members in the student council are amazing, talented
Absolutely.
people, and I have no doubts that I think that student council will only improve. Also, I
Absolutely.
hope that next year everything's gonna be normal, and there are gonna be more opportunities to create some events and to do all the plans.
Yeah. And you will still keep in touch as a former MPW alumni, shall we say?
Yeah.
So we can have Zoom meetings with you like you did with your colleagues previously, and you can pass the baton on, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope
No,
I will
that's-
have to share like all the experience in the university in MPW.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the sort of thing we talked about right at the beginning when you came onto the student council, this sort of like ambassadorial role, this sort of peer mentoring role, and sort of passing on the baton to students to come, and then they will do the same, etc., etc. So it's an onward thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? I can't think of anything, Tom. To anyone's, or Veronica, would you like to say anything further, or Caitlin? Still got, say, 10 minutes.
Are there any questions from the guests as well? I think it'd be nice to hear. So, you know, any questions for any of these three? You know, we've got a lovely mix of students here. You know, international and domestic. I think that
Is there any?
Yeah, and hopefully that's given you a flavour. All three of them are going to go and change the world. I have no doubt.
Absolutely.
And we're being entirely selfish when we're saying that we want to keep in touch with them because they're only going to reflect well on us. And Ulan ran a brilliant event recently for some alumni where he interviewed them about their experiences of MPW and their student experiences, and it was just fantastic. And again, it was great for us to be able to see just the quality of the alumni as well, wasn't it, Jamil?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was well done. Yes, and maybe we can take that forward again.
Please give some advice for better time management. So,
Okay,
Ulan, how did you do it? That's a brilliant question. How did you manage your time better?
So, well, I think there are different techniques, and like usually people have their own approach, how they manage their time. But my approach, I just have a A4 paper. I'm just writing all the things that should be done by the week, by the day, and by the months. In terms of academics, like homework, the preparation for TAs. Also there are like other personal goals, like for example, reading the books, learning some new vocabulary, doing sports, and then I'm just distributing by the time and by the hours. And I think that the main thing should be that people should always be motivated about their goals, passionate about their hobbies. And I think in this way, time management will be really effective.
And so thank you for sharing that. Yoga definitely helped you with this lockdown as well. This mindfulness, I think that's so cool.
Well, I'm a big fan of that, you know that.
Yes,
And I think, I mean,
absolutely.
what you'll see, I mean, anyone who's listening to Ulan and also the other two can see just their level of ambition and level of quality. And, you know, Ulan is very driven and as I say, they all are, and I've got no doubt he'll be hugely successful. And Ulan doesn't need his PT, and obviously I'm Caitlin's personal tutor, so we meet weekly. And the great thing about the personal tutor system is that if you are struggling with your time management, Ulan, they can say to you, right, what do we need to do to strip it back for you? And I worry, my only worry about Caitlin, because she's wonderful, is that next year when the pressure's on a little bit more academically, and life is academically pressured, Ulan's referred to that, I'm going to need to say to her, right, what can we do to take some things away from you in order to make sure that you're balancing your life? But, you know, again, Ulan very correctly said, exercise is important, sleep is important, friends are important. You know, I don't want to lose any of those things. So the personal tutor's job, as much as anything, you know, for these ambitious boys and girls, is to manage their time and to make sure that they are getting the balance and they aren't overdoing it in one area at the detriment of their physical health, their mental health, or their enjoyment. You know, we want them to come to MPW and remember their years here as being amazing times, intellectually, but also socially.
Yeah. I mean, let's ask that question. Veronica, what about the personal tutoring system? How's that helped you, both here and when you went on lockdown?
Actually, personal tutors help to solve like all our issues, either related to studies or related to just life in the UK, like for international students is important. Also, personal tutors help to organize like the application into university, to write the personal statement, all this process. Also, very important thing is when you're doubting between different subjects, you're not sure which one to choose, or you want to switch from one subject to it's like not a all personal tutors always can help you, because I changed some of my subjects and my personal tutor helped me in doing it like really quickly without any problems and not time consuming at all. Also, like right now during online lessons, we have every week a meeting with our personal tutor to discuss any questions, any problems, any issues that we might have. And it's just really helpful because you feel that support from someone that can answer all your questions if you have some questions. And it really just supports the most important thing about personal tutors.
Yeah, and obviously I think that helps your sort of engagement with Inga about your, say, time management or other issues, like you said, about changing subjects, etc., etc. That structure, I think what Caitlin was talking about earlier. Go on.
Table where like I have some intersections between lessons or ACE clubs or some meetings. She always solved these things out. And if I had to like skip the lesson because I was ill or I had to like go like to the doctor or had some urgent meeting, she always helped me to communicate with teachers and to like solve these problems so everything can be solved.
And I think I must mention, no, absolutely, because say, for instance, for attending this meeting, you did have a lesson and we had to sort of like ask, I think it was economics, your sort of teacher there, do the first part and then you can attend here because you're so concerned about what will happen while you're at this event with what subject matter that they've discussed for that hour. And then obviously he was willing to say, that's fine, don't worry, you would have that work to do, so you've not missed out on anything like that. So again, it shows, you know, you guys, your sort of commitment to not just your studies, but all the other things that you do as well. Okay. Thank you for that at the moment. Caitlin, how would you then relax, if that's the right way of doing it? As Tom was saying earlier, you know, time for sleep, time for friends, time for other things. What else would you add to that as part of your routine or structure here at MPW?
Yeah, so one of the great things about this college is that you have your free periods
Okay.
in between your lessons. So again, with
What do you
time
do
management,
then?
using them wisely and doing some work, or
Absolutely.
even meeting up with your friends. If it's a nice day, there's some benches outside the college it's quite nice and scenic. So that can be quite relaxing. And then also,
And you can then still focus on your studies as well. So there's, it actually helps you.
Yeah, definitely. And then outside of school, we're quite lucky where we're situated that there are so many clubs and so many activities that you can do around Cambridge.
I mean, and some of our own sort of, shall we say, enrichment or extracurricular things that we've done. Was you in the film club?
Yeah, that's.
Let's explain that to the audience.
Yes, so I think there's a 2-hour slot on your timetable, which is kind of academic and extracurricular enrichment. I chose film because I think it's quite relaxing, especially for the times that we're in. Just sit down and kind of watch a film and then just comment on it at the end. There's also other ones that are a bit more kind of, I guess, mentally stimulating. So like critical thinking. It's not so strict in a lesson.
More relaxed, shall we say?
Yeah, it's more relaxed, but you're still kind of learning those skills, which you can again transfer into your kind of further academic career, which I think is really beneficial.
And I mean, just to say, even if it's on that film club that you were a member of, I think the tutor also noted that it's not just watching the film, but then it's the comments thereafter about what you felt about it, the content, or the actual filming of it, and how sort of like you guys, the students themselves, came up with these, inspirational stuff that will be in a film school, if you want to put it that way, whether you've actually sort of, critique the film that you've just seen.
Yeah.
If you do that sort of thing, again, you are actually engaged with the film, not just watching it for the sake of watching it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you also see other people's kind of viewpoints on it and how they interpreted it, which again is quite interesting.
Absolutely, and I think again that teaches it is relaxing, but you're still focusing, and it does actually stimulate you, and it's a different thing entirely away from your timetable.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, hello. Are we overrunning, Steve?
No, not overrunning at all. I was just coming in towards the end. Just you go on. It's very interesting listening.
Okay, was there a question somewhere in the chat? I didn't check.
No, I don't think so. Should we just let each of the three of them just kind of give us a final thought? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it, Ulan, Veronica and Caitlin. Just a final kind of message and just sum up, okay, maybe even in 1 or 2 words, MPW. If you can't think of a message, just 2 words to sum up your time here at MPW and maybe So Ulan, let's start with you and put you under pressure as head of the Student Council. Sum up MPW in 2 words for us. Or more.
Wow.
In 2 words. So I would say wonderful journey.
Yes.
Well done.
Amazing. Thank you. That's fantastic.
Good.
Veronica, what about you?
Think about it, Veronica, and then 2 words. Come on.
Community and friends.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Yeah,
it's really great to hear, because that's what we need and that's what we want, and that's what makes us work better.
Caitlin?
Caitlin, finally you. Keep online. Yeah, don't go, Veronica. Keep your camera on, and you, Ulan, so we can say goodbye to you properly. Caitlin, what are your 2 words?
Maybe creative and supportive.
Brilliant.
Well, there you go. And and the best thing about those answers is that none of those are things that we can manufacture.
Yeah.
They're there, they're down to the people, and I think that's really special, and that says a lot. Hey, listen, thank you, you three. You've been absolutely a huge joy to listen to, and a massive credit to us. We're very lucky to have you, and we are lucky to have you too, Jamil. Thank you so much.
I couldn't come up with 2 words. I would have gone forever.
But they nailed it. So thank you, Kate. Thank you,
Yes,
Ula.
maybe
Thank you
so.
for
Thank you.
fantastic, and thank you, Jamil. I'll let you go back to your lessons now, people.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll hand back
All
to
right.
Steve.
Thank you.
All.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. That was so interesting, really, listening to student viewpoints. And, students are always the best voice, aren't they? Tom and Jamil, thank you as well. And just hearing about their experiences, this weekly testing and the stress, but how important it is. And it's great to hear. And I hope that our participants valued that input today. So really, once again, thank you so much for participating in the session this week. So thanks everyone. That's it for today. We've got one more MPW Live session next Wednesday, same time, 10 a.m. So our clocks do change in the UK this weekend, I think. So watch out. If they don't change where you are, because it might be a different time that you have to join in. So just have a look at that before next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is a joint event with NCUK. So it's MPW, NCUK, and the University of Bristol coming in next week as well, looking at engineering. So that'll be a really interesting and useful one. And we'll send out more details about that during the week. So thank you once again. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, MPW Cambridge. Thanks everyone, and see you here next week. Bye. Bye.
Thank
for
you.
now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.